This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, ma'am.
So we should start our session now.
Yes, yes, sure, sure.
Yes, sir.
So, ma'am, I'll continue with the yesterday's theme of investments and other things, right? I'll basically take other aspects also.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please go ahead.
Sure. See, friends, yesterday we had discussed a lot of things about Indian economy, world economy, and the way investments needs to be done, and what are the six asset classes that we had tried to discuss. That is cash, then investments in BSE, Sensex stocks, then mutual funds. The fourth was so basically when we are talking of these investment aspects, friends, when we are talking of this in when we are talking of these investment aspects, we need to understand, friends, that this COVID-19 will not be a permanent problem. Clear, COVID-19 will not be a permanent problem. So as a result, what will happen, that slowly and gradually in next 3 months, as basically things get sorted out, and you will find that by September, now what I feel is that the entire economy will come back on track. So once the economy is in back on track, then we will be able to, primarily we will be able to, what I can feel now, the entire economy is on track and our GDP will also start rising. For example, today one of the international rating agencies has told that next year India's GDP could be around 9% and America's GDP could be around 6.5%. Now these are historic high figures, friends. If this actually happens, it will be the highest ever GDP growth rate we and America would have registered. So basically, it is all on this calculation that once this pandemic is sorted out, that means there is some medicine available, or basically there is herd immunity, you will see that things will start coming back on track. And once things come back on track, you will find that there will be a strong rebound in equity markets, in basically world economy and other things. So so economy will also rebound, and as a result stock market will also rebound back. So this will ensure, and this will ensure that we will be able to do things in a in a much better way. And as a result, the investments in stock market and other things will get in a more what I can say, professional manner. Apart from this, we have to understand one thing, friends, that when you are deciding to invest in stock market or in mutual funds, please understand that these both forces are becoming backbone of Indian stock market. FIIs, that is foreign institutional investors, have so far invested 10 lakh crore rupees into our markets, 10 lakh crore cumulatively into our markets. Their net investment is around 10 lakh crore rupees, and with that they have become a reckoning force. That means whenever they invest, the markets gallop, and whenever they withdraw, the markets fall like pin of cards. However, in last 5 years, mutual funds have become a strong force countering them, and that is something, what I can say, a heartening message for all of us. So we have to keep this particular point in mind. Apart from this, friends, if you see in 2008, see, I will discuss four instances which shows the role of FII and mutual funds. In 2008 global financial crisis, FIIs had withdrawn 52,000 crore rupees, and as a result, our markets gave a negative return of 45%. 45% our markets had crashed in 2008 because FIIs had withdrawn money. In 2011, again, because FIIs were net sellers, our markets gave a negative return of 24.5%. To 24.65% was our negative return. And in 2015 Chinese economic crisis, again our markets gave a negative return of 5%. Basically, all of this because FIIs were net sellers. And even in this COVID-19, yes. So basically, even in this pandemic, if you see now, in the month of March 2020, FIIs had withdrawn 61,000 crore rupees. Now, when FIIs withdraw 61,000 crore rupees, again our markets give a negative return of 35%. From 42,273, the markets came down to 26,000 levels, and right now again it is at 34,000 levels. So what I'm trying to highlight is, friends, that since 1992, when FIIs were allowed till 2015, they had complete control on our stock markets. Especially in the last 20 years, if you see the way they had invested money, markets have galloped, and the way they have withdrawn money, markets have crashed like pin of cards. But thanks to mutual funds, that in the last 5 years, that is from 2015 onwards, Indian mutual funds have also started playing a very major role and have made their presence felt. For example, in the year 2017, when FIIs invested 53,000 crore rupees, mutual funds invested 1,12,000 crore rupees, 1,12,000 crore. In 2018, that was a year when there was US-China trade war. FIIs had withdrawn 32,000 crore rupees from Indian stock markets. FIIs had withdrawn 32,000 crore rupees from Indian stock markets, whereas mutual funds had invested 1,20,000 crore rupees. Mutual funds had invested. So basically, if we see now, mutual funds have become now a counter force. So whenever, what I have observed is that FII sell, mutual funds buy. Even in the current scenario, if you see, mutual funds have been mutual funds have been always keeping a vital aspect, because mutual funds today have become a part and parcel of retail investors' money. See, today, if you see in mutual funds, every month 8,000 crore rupees is coming through SIP, systematic investment plan. So, mutual funds are investing 8,000 crore rupees into Indian stock market on month basis. Now, this 8,000 crore, friends, is only of retail individual investors. So if you see, retail individual investors average ticket size of SIP is 2,850 rupees. 2,850 is what they are investing. So this is something, friends, very vital and critical. So when FIIs are investing in our economy, obviously when FIIs are investing because they see growth potential in India, but mutual funds are channelizing the domestic savings of the people, and that is something very heartening, friends. One thing, friends, we have to understand that in India, as of now, in mutual funds, there are 2 crore registered investors in mutual funds. When I say 2 crore registered investor means 2 crore individual PAN cards. See, my own, I have 7 SIPs running, but I am counted as only one investor for the simple reason I am counted as only one investor because my PAN card is one. So in all SIPs, the PAN card will be same. So I am not counted in multiple times. So there are 2 crore individual investors and 3 crore SIPs which are running as far as basically mutual funds are concerned. Apart from this, friends, if you see the potential. See, in India right now, we have around 35 crore people who have PAN card. 35 crore people have PAN card. PAN card is very vital because without PAN card, you cannot invest. Aadhaar card in any case is with 130 crore people. So when PAN card is there with 30 crore people, that means if 2 crore investors are doing in mutual fund, just imagine that if this figure goes to 10 crores in coming 5-10 years, where will be the index? The index will gallop like anything, friends. So in the long term, always remember that mutual funds have now become a very major source of investment in stock markets, plus they have become more of a backbone. So that is the reason why our mutual funds and FIIs both play a vital role. But yes, FIIs are typically called as fair weather friends, because whenever they see that there is a problem in world economy, they will basically run away, and when they find some good news coming, they immediately come back. So they are typically called, their behavior is of a fair weather friends. Whereas as far as Indian mutual funds are concerned, they are long term, stable, and they channelize the money of retail investors like you and me, individual investors who are investing money in our stock markets and basically betting on the Indian economy's growth story. Now, I had done a research, friends, on the last 20 years flow of FII versus mutual funds, annual flow of FIIs versus annual flow of mutual funds. And if you try to find out coefficient of correlation, I was able to find out minus 0.45. So when I found out that coefficient of correlation minus 0.45, it means that they perfectly have a partial negative correlation. And this is also evident from the fact that many times when FIIs are selling, mutual funds are buying, and vice versa. Now, why like this? See, this happens because there is a valuation matrices going on. Valuation means that FIIs at times feel that Indian markets have become costly, Indian markets have become overvalued, valuations are stretched, and so they basically withdraw money. As far as basically mutual funds are concerned, they more bet on the domestic happenings in the economy, and they see the long term perspective and growth of Indian economy. So they always buy. if you take it from a retail investor's perspective also, say for example friends, right now if I sit on a computer terminal to buy say 10 Reliance shares, Reliance is at 1550, so suppose I buy 10 shares, then somebody in India is selling those 10 shares. Why? See, I have a gut feeling based on my understanding, my reading, that Reliance will become 2000 rupees in coming 2 years because Reliance Jio will do well. That is, say example, my understanding. Other person's understanding could be that 1500 is also high price. Reliance in the future may go down because oil and petrol business may not do well. There will be regulatory hurdles in Geo. So he is selling at 1500. Now see, please here understand that the price of the share we both are looking is the same, the balance sheet of the company is the same, it is a it is in public domain. Then why it happens that one person buys and one person sells? It happens because of valuation. I feel that at 1500 it is worth buying Reliance. The other person feels that it is worth selling at 1500. Then these things will always keep on happening friends, as far as buying and selling is concerned, and that is why stock markets never stop, and that is why eternally stock markets have been working and they will work, because no two-person will have same valuation logic. The same concept applies on FII investments also and mutual fund investments also. Mutual funds and FIIs both have their pros and cons. So at times when one institutional investor is selling, the other is buying, and vice versa. Apart from this, if you basically see mutual fund and FIIs, then mutual funds are ones who will basically do, friends, both of them does primary research at the same time. Primary research means when they identify a stock for buying, they will not buy based on newspaper, journal, magazine or other things, but they will basically go meet the person, meet MD, CEO, and then basically try to invest in that. That is something what FIIs basically try to do. So that is why FIIs and mutual funds, they always play a vital role as far as investment options are concerned. Whenever friends you buy a stock, see, one of the easy way to identify whether you should buy a stock or not is simply checking what whether FIIs and mutual funds have bought that stock or not. So if you check that yes, FIIs and mutual funds have bought that stock, yes, you can easily buy that stock, because please understand that these institutional investors, when they buy lakhs of shares. So they will not buy based on a media report or basically on some newspaper article. They will buy based on solid primary research. Primary research means they will visit the plant, manufacturing plant, they will go to and meet the MD, CEO, and then only they will take an appropriate decision and continue. This point, friends, we will have to keep it in mind. So whenever we also decide to buy, always remember, just check it out. Just give me 1 second. Yes, friends. So basically, when we are talking of FIIs and mutual funds, we just need to understand that in the long term, both have their different valuation perspectives and their basic different concepts of investing. FIIs invest typically based on macroeconomic data. That means what is the overall GDP growth rate, what is the fiscal deficit, what is government's policy towards foreign investment. So they basically go by macro factors, whereas mutual funds will obviously consider macro factors, but apart from that, they will be more focused on what is actually happening at the grassroots level in the economy. For example, if you see right now, GST and other things may look difficult in the short term, but in the long term, yes, it will definitely help the economy. Aadhaar card, RERA, then Banking Insolvency Act. So based on all these things, now FIIs will have their own perspectives and mutual funds will have their own perspectives. So based on that, individually they take a call. Clear? Individually they will decide how to buy and basically how to sell. So these concepts are something very important and critical. Apart from this, friends, we have to understand that when mutual funds invest, friends, even the sectoral purchases are different. For example, mutual funds may buy financial services, insurance, whereas FIIs may be buying other sectors. So again, there is a variation in their sectoral preference because they have different parameters of research and different parameters of investing. Plus, one thing is very vital, that FIIs give a lot of importance to basically foreign rating agencies. Basically, foreign rating agencies, FIIs gives lot of importance, whereas in case of mutual funds, they basically go with the grassroots level of information, that in spite whatever rating agencies say, global rating agencies, they know what efforts Indian government is putting and what is the grassroots level reality. So based on that, they will have their own investment pattern. So as a matter of fact, friends, both these institutions, FIIs and mutual funds, both occupy a very important place as far as Indian stock market is concerned. Both occupy a very important place, and because of their flows in the economy, markets at times relatively grow well. But yes, at times there are difficult chances also, because ultimately global markets and global sentiment affects. And please understand that whenever you are investing in markets, my friends, always remember the overall macro parameters of India. See, three factors. Number one, basically, if you see demographic division, young working population. Second, basically, young working population. Second is domestic consumption. That is, second is domestic consumption, and third is basically a high savings rate. So if these three factors are considered, friends, these three factors, then going ahead, definitely yes, our economy will always perform well. And even after, once this pandemic is over, this lockdown comes to an end, friend, you will find that our economy will bounce back like anything, because a certain level of consumption and demand cannot be suppressed in India. The moment the economy opens up and we have some resort from this pandemic, you will find India behaving in a much matured way, and our GDP will rise. In fact, even today's one of the foreign rating agencies have told that Indian GDP could be around 9% next year. Now, it is based on the assumption that once the economy fully opens back, there is something known as a pent up demand. Pent up demand means spending demand. So, because of this lockdown and because of economic hardships, plus people were forced to remain in house, the demand has been staggered, it has been forcefully stopped. So the moment restrictions are removed and the moment things become normal, you will find people going out dining. People rather will spend more money on recreation and other things, because they feel that they were denied of these benefits for few months for whatever reason, within their control or outside their control. So when this full force demand comes out in the economy, you will find GDP galloping like anything. And when GDP goes up, obviously our stock markets will always rise. So this is something, friends, we need to keep it in mind. Now, I think, friends, if we can go for question answers, it would be very nice. So because this mutual fund versus FIIs is a very lively topic. So any questions are there, I'll be more than happy to answer, so that we can have more of an interactive session, friends. So please feel free to ask me questions. Yes, Pooja ma'am.
Yes, Aditya,
Hello?
sir. I request
Yes.
participants to drop the messages or directly ask the questions by unmuting the mic. Participants, kindly drop your questions in the chat box.
Yes, friends, tell me please. Huh?
So, till the participants drop their questions, I have one
Sure, sure.
query that
Please, please.
real estate is a better investment opportunity or in gold?
No, ma'am. As of now, frankly speaking, gold will be more better. See, real estate is the entire sector is grappled with two things. Number one, huge oversupply, and there is unrealistic pricing. 4 lakh houses are lying unsold in Mumbai. Will you believe it? 4 lakh houses are lying unsold in Mumbai. And apart from this, pan India, there are basically 12 lakh houses remaining unsold. Real estate is highly illiquid, man. So you may buy it, but you will not be able to sell it. Clear? That is one thing. Second thing is the way basically people have lost jobs, salary cuts are there. So there will be huge amount of EMI defaults after this lockdown, after August 31st. See, basically right now what has happened, the moratorium period has been extended till August 31. So till August 31, even banks do not know what is the kind of their NPA situation, and that they will come to know only after 3 months. So they will come to know in December, mostly December, Jan, what kind of NPAs they are looking at. Clear? So in that, I feel that those who have taken home loans will default. So even those properties will come for auction. So trust me, real estate is total out of question. Real estate is totally out of question. Yes, you can in place of that you can definitely buy gold because gold is relatively very liquid. You can sell it at any point of time. Somebody's mic is on.
Hello.
Prashant sir,
Good afternoon,
please.
sir.
Good
Yes.
afternoon.
Yes, madam. Sir, one question. Hello.
Sir, I'm hello, sir. I'm
Uh,
still answering Gupta madam's question. So if you can please switch off your mic for 1 minute, I'll finish your question. Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sir,
Yes.
please continue.
Yes. So basically, what I was trying to tell was that as far as gold is concerned, gold is still a better option to buy because it is very liquid. Number one. Second, the way geopolitical tensions are creeping up. That means US-China trade war, US-Iran problems, and the way world economy is grappling with slowdown and other things. Na? So gold will be a better option to buy. But whenever you buy gold, please try to buy gold in the form of ETF units, exchange traded fund. That is always a better option as compared to buying physical jewelry. In jewelry, what will happen? You will add making charges when you buy, and making charges will be debited when you sell. So finally, you will end up making a loss in case of gold prices. Clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for a clear explanation. I request
No, no,
Prashant
sure,
sir to ask his question now.
sure.
Prashant sir,
Sir,
you can
good
unmute.
afternoon. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, tell. Yes,
Sir,
sir. Tell me.
I said gold is a liquid asset. How it is a liquid asset, sir?
See, liquid asset means, sir, you can sell gold at any point of time. Liquidity means that any asset which can be sold off immediately and converted into cash, that is called as liquidity. So, gold is
Okay.
something where you can go to any store and sell it immediately. Clear? And second is, sir,
Okay.
that the way world economy has got integrated now, so there are
Mhm.
obviously some or the other geopolitical tensions coming here and there. So gold will always be a better option to be there in your portfolio. You can have 10 to
Uh,
15% of your investments in gold also.
So, but in the past, when I visited SEBI and
Hmm.
NSE, they said that the gold is not the liquid asset; is a dead asset.
See, that is
It will not.
basically, no, no, please understand, that is correct. It is a dead asset from an overall economic perspective. Economic perspective in the sense that suppose I put 1 lakh rupee in FD. So what will happen? Bank will give me 6% interest, but bank will give that 1 lakh rupee loan to someone. Clear? Bank will give that 1 lakh rupee
Okay.
loan to someone. Right. So that means that money is productively moving in the economy. In gold, what happens? Either I will wear it or put it that ornament into a locker. So in that sense, it is
Okay.
called as a debt asset because money is not
Uh,
circulating.
from that point of from that point, it is a dead asset.
From
Uh,
dead asset.
Sir,
Correct.
another thing is there. I invested money in the mutual fund, but there is depreciation now. Now it is showing the negative growth.
Sir, basically right now,
Systematic investment.
correct. Right. Sir, basically, right
Uh,
now, what has happened? See, pandemic is something that happens once 100 years. The first pandemic recorded was in 1720, then second in 1820, third in 1920, which was
yeah.
called as Spanish flu. In Spanish flu, 5
Mm-hmm.
crore people globally had died, and that too had lasted for 2 years. Clear. So, in this time,
Mm-hmm.
see, something which is unprecedented situation which nobody had dreamt or basically thought. Correct. See, on March 18th, when I traveled to Gujarat for at my native place from Mumbai, I never had an idea that for another 100 days I will be locked up in Gujarat. Clear. So who had dreamt
Mm-hmm.
that? So in this time, it is very a normal thing to have a negative return. But trust me that one should not withdraw the SIP or one should not withdraw any stock market investment. Just keep it as it is, so that in the long term you will definitely make good amount of wealth, because economy and stock market always have a tendency to rebound. So the moment you will find that economy opens up and things start becoming normal, you will find that ultimately it will rise and you will be able to make good amount of profit.
Okay. So one more question is there.
Hmm.
So shall I go for the angel broking that the app is available for the investment in the stock market, or shall I go for the grow, which is for
See,
the mutual fund especially?
See, basically, to be very frank with
Okay.
you, sir, don't see, mutual fund is always a better option for the simple reason in mutual funds, there is no weightage on your wallet. Clear, even with a minimum investment of 500 rupees to 1000 rupees, you can start. But as far as investment in stock market is concerned, even if you buy 10 Reliance, you will have to pay 15,000 rupees. Simple logic now. So, as far as mutual fund is concerned, there is diversification because you are doing an SIP. SIP with that mutual fund scheme will be investing in 40 to 50 companies. So definitely mutual fund is always a better option as compared to stock market for retail investors. Yes, if you have time, if
Okay.
you can devote time, you have knowledge, then in that case stock market will be a better option. Okay.
So one last question.
Hmm.
My question, Miss, I teach economics also, and when there is a rise in the demand, there is a rise in the price of the commodity, right?
Hmm.
When we look at the housing sector, the prices
Hmm.
are increasing day by day. And as you
Hmm.
said, there are near about 4 lakh houses are vacant in the Mumbai,
Hmm.
but there is no decline in prices as such.
No, no, no,
And
no,
in
no,
past,
sir.
huh? Hello,
Sir, if I, sir, yes, sir, I have understood your question. See,
huh?
basically, if you see the real estate scenario right now, no, the prices have already started cracking. In fact, just
Huh?
before 3 days, Piyush Goyal, the central minister, has clearly told real estate developers that it is better you reduce price and sell your assets rather than waiting, and don't expect that government will intervene in real estate sector. Plus, real estate, na, see, a lot of people have lost jobs in the corporate sector. There have been salary cuts and other problems. So, real estate for another
Huh?
3 to 4 years will be facing a downside. So, real estate right
Hmm.
now, if you buy only if you are going to stay in that house, don't buy anything from investment perspective. So, please keep this particular point in mind. Clear. Second thing is that prices have already started cracking in the last 1 month. So, right now, if you have a
Hmm.
purchasing power and if you bargain with a broker, then you can get a very good deal. But again, I will repeat that you should buy a real estate if you really need it and if you are going to live in that. Please don't buy any real estate from an investment perspective. You will not get any appreciation.
Sir, but in the past, means 2005, the prices in Kalyan for the real estate were rupees 700 to 800 rupees per square feet, and now it increased to 10,000 rupees per square feet. Actually, there is all of a sudden there is a rise in the prices, and now they are going to cut by 100 rupees, 200 rupees, or maximum 1,000 rupees. Means what is available for 10,000 is available for 9,000. That is not making that much difference for the
No, but
ordinary people, common man.
sir, you have to
As a not
understand.
as an investment, as a what? As a not as an investment. It is for a property for a residing purpose.
See,
So
in that case, sir,
why the prices increase too much, and now there is a fractional decline in the prices there. Why it is
sir, that
so?
is Sir, that is because from 2005 onwards, there was a real estate boom, and real estate boom normally lasts for 10 to 12 years. It's a commodity cycle kind of a thing, clear? So basically, when
Uh-huh.
prices went up, because that time the overall economy was doing well. So always remember,
Hmm.
see, it is like this, Reliance was available for 10 rupees in the year
Hmm.
1977, then it went to 2400, clear? So now from
Uh-huh.
2000 100, it went to 1600. But obviously you cannot argue that, "Arey, why it has not gone again to 100 rupees so that I can buy it?" That never happens with any asset class. So from basically, if in Kalyan also, if the prices are now at 10,000, or if it has come down to 9,000, you can bargain and get it at 8,500. But obviously you will not get it at 4,000, 5,000 rupees. Now that phase is gone
Yeah.
because the overall economics has
Mhm.
gone up.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, friends. Other questions?
Any other questions? So we do have good questions in the chat box. So the first question we have is, can you give me details regarding intraday changes if it is not completed on that day, on that particular day?
Hmm. See, basically, intraday trading is something where you buy in the morning, you sell in the afternoon, clear? Or you buy at 10 o'clock, you sell at 11 o'clock. That is called as intraday trading. Now, any trade which is not settled in intraday, that means you buy in the morning, but by 3:30, if you don't sell it, what will happen? It will automatically get converted into delivery-based trade. Delivery-based trade means you will have to make full payment to the stockbroker and take those shares in your demat account. Clear? So that is basically called as delivery based trading. And once shares come in your demat account, you can sell them whenever you want. Again, I will tell intraday trading is not suitable because it is very difficult to make money in intraday trading. Rather, delivery based trading is more preferable. So try to go for delivery based trading, or the third option is you go for wealth creation strategy. Wealth creation means you buy good fundamental stocks but don't sell them for 5-10 years. Clear? Yes.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
So
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Tell me.
sir. This was my question. This was my question
Okay.
regarding the intraday. Thanks for the
Okay.
answering. But I was supposed to ask the some in intraday there was some penalty as well. So what's can you give me details regarding that penalty or some whatever it is?
Penalty in intraday? No, no, no. In intraday, why would there be a penalty? Penalty may come if there is not proper margin collected from by the broker from you. So there could be some charges. I don't know whether there is any penalty on intraday. There is no penalty such. There is nothing like penalty.
Means if it is not getting completed, if it is not getting completed on the same day, so there will not be any penalty for
No, no,
intraday.
no, no, no. You simply pay the full payment and you take the shares. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Okay, okay. If it is not get completed, then it will convert it into a
No.
delivery.
Yes, exactly. Correct? Okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Next question.
there is a next question.
Huh.
I hold a Bajaj Finance, Baj Finserv, Idea
Hmm.
Reliance, IRCTC, Pay, SBI Life. In this, which one need to exit?
Ma'am, normally I don't comment on individual stocks, but as far as this is concerned, Vodafone Idea should be exited for the simple reason that this AGR dues, which is pending with the court, it can anytime hit their balance sheet. So that is a stock which I don't found. Other stocks are good. IRCTC, then others are, yes, you can keep them. That should not be a problem.
Okay, sir. There is a
Okay.
next question. What is the future of telecommunication company in near future?
See, telecom companies only Reliance Jio and Vodafone may survive. Others will wind up for the simple reason the entire sector is loaded with debt capital. The total debt is around 9 lakh crore rupees in the sector. That is one major problem. Second, wafer thin margins because of stiff competition. And third is regulatory burden. So because of this, the sector does not have much of a future. Only thing is that those companies who are extremely cash rich will be able to manage the show. So this point you have to keep it in mind. So that is why Reliance Jio that is why Reliance Jio is one thing which you will have to keep it in mind.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Any other questions, participants? You can put the questions in chat box or you can ask directly.
Yes, ma'am. Any other question, or then we can wind up?
waiting for the questions. Any other questions, participants? Okay, sir. We'll wind up.
Okay, ma'am.
Wait,
Okay,
wait
ma'am.
a minute. Wait a minute. We will be sharing the feedback form link. Do not exit the meeting, participants. Before that, I request our IQAC coordinator, Mrs. Raina Chandika, to say few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Mrs. Rena Chandika, IQSA Coordinator of Matashri K.M. Patel Senior College of Commerce and Science. On behalf of our college, IQAC, and Career Guidance and Placement Cell, I convey our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Aditya Srinivas for clarifying on the core concepts and investment opportunities that are available and open for all of us. I'm very sure all participants must have cleared their queries in line, as the explanation provided by Sir was quite simplified and suffice. I also thank Ms. Shehnaz Sheikh from BSc Brokers for giving us this opportunity to bring out this kind of for all our beloved participants. I thank our college management, Sri Dombivli Mandal, our Vice Principal, Ma'am, Mrs. Madhuri Nandanwar, and entire career guidance and placement cell for arranging such a fruitful online FDP for all of us. Thank you so much once again, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Raina ma'am. Thank you, Aditya sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, thank you, sir. Participants are requested do not leave the meeting. Please fill the feedback form. After filling the link, you can leave the meeting. Thank you so much.